What's going on, guys? Alex's RT Life here. In this video, I'm going to cover a few issues I've had recently with my Durango. So if you're new to the channel or if you're a returning viewer, go ahead and tap that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed it at the end of it, please give it a thumbs up. So let's get right into the first problem that I've been having with my Durango. So if you notice in the rear, you see my MGP caliper covers. But if you notice the front, no caliper cover there. Now, what was happening was, as I was driving down the road, I felt something grinding in my brakes. So immediately I got out, checked my front wheel because that's where it was coming from, the grinding. And I noticed the bracket, one of the brackets for my MGP caliper cover was kind of halfway off. So that was the issue. So, and if you go and see my original MGP caliper cover video, I got a couple videos on it, but I mentioned how I didn't believe that those brackets would hold up long term. And so, and sure enough, they didn't. They failed. I had to take the front ones off. I left the rear ones on, but I pulled those ones off, and you know, they're kind of mismatched now, but I had no choice. It was causing issues with my brakes, grinding in the rotor. I mean, it was pretty bad. So if you guys if you have the MGP caliper covers on, or if you plan on buying them, check out my videos on those. But what you want to do is, if you feel issues with your front brakes, maybe you feel something grinding on your rotor, check your caliper cover brackets, because those things, you're going to have issues over time. At least I did. Hopefully you guys don't, but I did. And so that's the first problem I had. Now, the second problem was, as I was driving down the road, I had got an error message on my dash, and it was a ETC, electronic throttle control message on the dash there. And it was like a thunderbolt. It was a flashing thunderbolt sign. And so obviously it has something to do with the throttle. So what happened was, I lost all power to my throttle. It was down to like 10%. I couldn't accelerate. And so I shut the vehicle off, pulled over, shut it off. And once I started it, it started back up. I had my throttle back, but the ETC signal was still on the dash. So I'm like, what is going on here? You know, I was like, does it have something to do with my tune? So I start checking things, and the first thing I checked was all the components of like the throttle, because that's what it has something to do with, the throttle. And so I checked the throttle, and I totally forgot that when I tune my vehicle, you know, with the Diablo Sport, you guys know, if you guys know about my vehicle, a little bit about it, if you've been subscribed for a while, you know, I tune my vehicle. So I had the sprint booster on here while I tuned my vehicle, and it just been on ever since I tuned my vehicle. And so I pulled the sprint booster off. Here it is here. I just disconnected it and took it off, and now I just have my regular throttle. Nothing's on it. So I pulled that off, and ever since I pulled that off, I'm having no issues. So what I did was I took my Trinity 2 tuner, I cleared the trouble code, the ETC code, cleared it out, and now the car's running fine. No ETC signals on the dash. And so that's what it was. I guess the sprint booster signal, the throttle signal, was kind of communicating with the tune, and it was telling it it's bad, something's wrong with the throttle, if you know what I mean. So once I pulled off the sprint booster, I definitely noticed a difference in my throttle sensitivity. So now the good thing about it is, with the tuner, the T2 tuner, it has a throttle boost. You can adjust the throttle boost right through the tuner. So I really don't even need the sprint booster on here. So that's a good thing. I mean, that's another benefit about the tuner. You can just adjust so many parameters So I'm really glad that worked out. Took the sprint booster off. Now I'm having no issues because it was bad when I lost power to my throttle. I mean, it was like, whew. Good thing I wasn't on a highway. I was on just a regular road. It was like 35 miles per hour. Threw on my four ways, pulled over, shut it off. Fortunately, it started back up once I shut it off, and the throttle was running fine. Those were the two problems I've had recently, guys. That's going to wrap up this video. On the way, we have the modification to my front splitter there. We're gonna pull these fender extensions off and modify the front splitter. Make sure you guys stay tuned. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and give the video a thumbs up. Alex RT Life signing off.